$600 stimulus? Really? Come on. I can't even stimulate my ass for that.
Welcome to Gaytalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
Good evening and welcome back to another episode of Gaytalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast streaming live on Digital Stream Radio, where you can access that live stream every Monday at 6-ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can do so by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. It's been an interesting start. We had a lot of technical difficulties.
We take 1 week off.
And everything just goes awry. It's like with the stimulus package. It's like lackluster. So anyway, today we're going to have a very special guest. Our guest tonight is Micheal Block. He is the host of Block Talk, a new podcast that we hope...
No, not new.
Not new?
No.
No?
No, it's been around since 2015.
Look at that. Look at that. It's
Yeah.
been around longer than ours. We started in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Block Talk is there. It's available. We're going to have the host of the podcast on our show tonight talk a little bit about what it is and what he talks about on his show. I'm super excited. He's a really good friend of Nick's.
I wouldn't say really good friend. We're friends. We met a long time ago back in college, and it's so great to reconnect. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm excited to figure out what it is that Block Talk is all about, and to hear him in his own words describe what it is that he does. Podcasting is a very, very personal thing for a lot of people, right? There's a lot of podcasts everywhere. For us, it's been a growing pains experience from our launch all the way through,
Today?
5 years later. This March, it'll be 5 years. So let's just leave it there. Anyway, my name is Tom. I am your host. And as always, I'm here with my amazing co-host. Well, the only one in studio today, starting with the first one.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And the only one. And welcome you all to
The Dish.
Here's the interesting thing. So because of technical difficulties, we had a hard time trying to format the show and things like that. So we're flying on the cuff.
Uh-huh.
Just to let you know.
A little bit.
But
it's been 2 weeks, so I mean,
there's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, I want to, I hope that everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're literally approaching Christmas next week, right?
This week.
My God. This
Girl.
week. And New Year's next week. Time
Girl.
flies when you're on Prozac. What can I say?
You gotta stop taking those pills.
But I suppose that I guess we'll start with what we've been doing for the past 2 weeks since we were last on air. But I will start with, first and foremost, to Mama Kim. Mommy dearest, and I mean that with a lot of love, not in the connotation of the Faye Dunaway Mommy dearest. You are amazing. This woman took the time to send us a little care package, and she sent us little pride flags when she visited San Francisco with her son, and also she sent us little Christmas tree ornaments, hangers. Trish's fell, but that's okay. That you can hang, that we could hang on our trees with little pride flags, and she's amazing. And if you're not familiar with what she does, just so that you guys know, that flag, if you're watching on our YouTube Live for all our Patreons, was created by this woman, and she has, over the course of the last 2.5 years, really evolved in finding out who she is, what kind of parent she wanted to be to her gay son, and really, really, really immersed herself in
also what kind of parent she wanted to be to Gay Talk.
That's right, because she is our unofficial mother, and so I am super excited that we met her. I'm really appreciative for her being in our lives. I love the fact that she found a path that led her to form a bond with her son. Which is incredible, and it's all we could hope for, right? When we started the show, that is all we wanted. We wanted to educate people. We wanted to talk about the fact that we are here. We're queer, we're strong, and we're not going anywhere. And all you can do as a parent is support your child and give them love. As long as you can do that, the sky's the limit for them. And she really did that. So, and
Yeah.
you're important to us. You are a very vital and critical person in our lives, on the show and off. And so thank you for being so supportive of our show, so supportive of our community, and so supportive of your son. And we love you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was emotional.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And it's emotional and well deserved.
Yeah.
So it's weekends. To weeks,
Yeah,
really.
really.
Shall we start with you?
Sure. Let me track back. So I had the event. It went really well.
The event. Okay.
Yeah, so we canceled last Monday because I had the event.
That's right.
It went really well.
So why did we cancel last Monday?
Because I.
She wanted to use the space. So let me tell you.
That's not why.
So I've known Trish for years. Her and I have been really, really, really good friends. I have never actually seen her work. And the week before last, she had asked if she could come into the studio and use the space so that she could work. And she had, she again was doing a virtual gala for the White Theater.
White Heron.
The White Heron Theater in
Nantucket.
In Nantucket. Small little island, small theater. But let me tell you, I am in awe of what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously, I walked downstairs. This Trish lady has one computer here. She's using this computer there to do the Skype call, or what was it that you were using?
The live stream was on that computer,
right?
And then I was dealing with the fundraising software on my personal computer here, and then I had the audio coming through the main screen.
And she was just going, and she was coming up. She would come up and be like, all right, I got to go downstairs. I got to do a couple of things. And she was taking phone calls, and you're amazing.
Oh, so are you.
And let me tell you, the person that hires you has a gifted individual for life.
Thank you.
Seriously, what you do, that was amazing. And the fact that I got to experience that, off the side and just sort of kind of observing.
Yeah, you got to see the, backstage view.
Right. And it's like, I was in awe. And so I just want to say, first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank
that was
you.
your first
consulting job.
You did an amazing job.
Yep.
You guys raised a lot of money. And it was a success.
Yeah.
And I think that, they were lucky to have you.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It felt so good to be back in it. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but when you when you feel like you're good at something, or when you're passionate about something,
right.
Which I love theater, which is actually perfect for our guest today, because that's how I met Mike, or Michael. But I just, I felt alive again.
Right.
And I love raising money for theater. I never thought I would be a fundraiser, but I love it.
I saw that.
I love it. I love connecting with new people. I love bringing in money and supporting a good cause. This little teeny theater in Nantucket does so much for that little island.
Right.
And connects so many people on that island. And
to the arts.
Yeah, and brings so many artists there and pays them. And they do such great work. And it just felt so good to, reconnect again. And then we had a debrief Thursday last week. And hopefully it looks like I'll have a potential opportunity of working with them again. But, yeah, I don't think... obviously I'm in real estate class right now, and somebody had mentioned to me that they were like, well, what are you doing? Are you applying for jobs? What's going on? Have you really tried? And I'm like, I don't know what I want to do next, but I know that fundraising and connecting to the community where I live or where I work is really important to me. And so
right.
I know no matter what, I'll always be involved in that.
Right.
And so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I felt really great about it. And Yeah. No, and the, the messages people were sending, and then certain individuals were like, oh, well, we're going to give you this much, but we're going to give you this much now, which is more, obviously.
Right.
So we did a good job, and it wasn't just me. It was a great team of people,
Right.
and I'm glad to have worked with them. I mean, I remember the first time I went to Nantucket, I met Micheal, one of the people that I was working with, and I was just walking the streets of Nantucket. It's like this big.
Of course she was. She was tricking.
But
Trish was tricking.
I wanted to go see the theater, so
Right.
I walked over there, and he was sitting outside, and I told him, I was like, yeah, no, I work for Long Wharf Theater. And we started chatting. He's like, well, let me give you a tour. And like at that point, he was like, well, if you ever want to work here, let me know. And then like what was it, like 2 years later?
Right.
I'm consulting for the company. You never know
It's
what's going to
amazing.
happen.
Well,
Yeah.
one thing I can say is that I'm very proud of you.
Oh,
I think
thanks.
that the work that you did, the collaboration between you, the staff of the theater, was a very successful gala. And it's something that, the White Herring Theater never did before, right? A lot of theaters never did virtual gala. But, as a result of COVID, that's where we are today.
Yeah.
And that's how, you have to adapt. You have to be able to adapt, and through the connections that you made, right, as a result of working for Long Wharf, you were able to actually produce and really bring home the bacon.
Yeah. And also, during the event, the consulting firm that had brought me on to help with the virtual gala had
Right.
posted something on Facebook. They were like, in the middle of our first virtual gala, thank God for Nick Bussett. He's helping us through it. I'm like, it's not just me. We're like all messaging like the entire
Right.
time and like in constant contact. But it just felt.
It's a group effort.
Yeah,
but you know what,
100%.
bitch? Take your fucking accolades. It's a
yeah.
group effort, but without you, it would have been that much harder. And you really made that transition for them from going from an actual gala to a virtual gala very easy because you had already done one before you were fired.
Yeah. What's really exciting is it was based around Christmas Carol.
Right.
And they more than doubled what they would have made just running the Christmas Carol show. So
Which is incredible.
Yeah. And
and we had what was the actor's name? Christopher Plummer. He was the one narrating the Christmas story. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. Great job. I'm very proud of you. Very happy for you. I'm happy for the White Herring Theater. I think it's just overall, it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and if you want to hire me, I would be happy to live on Nantucket every
She's
summer.
employable.
Okay.
Yes. So I really didn't do much of anything other than think of ways to transform my space, right?
Again.
My home. Again.
It's cold out, so now it's the interior.
So it's now the interior.
Yep.
So I ended up I thought about changing things around. I had this very Victorian style fireplace. It was like a little mock fireplace, electric fireplace and stuff. That I wasn't feeling it anymore, and it wasn't really like going with like the whole investment in my new couches and everything that I had. And
so you watch too much HGTV is what you're saying.
Yes. And I was like, you know what? I want to remodernize my space. And but if I do that, I want to make sure that I support small businesses, right? And so I started scouring places, and what better place to go to for small business owners and people that create stuff than Etsy?
Remember when you thought it was like this, like...
It's a very bougie place to go.
It's not bougie.
I still think that Etsy is very exclusive, right?
I don't feel that way, but okay.
And the reason why I think Etsy is very exclusive is because what you buy on Etsy is unique, right? A lot of things are handmade.
I think...
They're not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an exclusivity in that comes with buying on Etsy.
I would say more... originality,
but also exclusiveness. No
one else has what you have.
No one else is going to be able to have the same exact thing that I have that I bought from Etsy.
I see what you're saying. Like the item itself.
Right. And so not only that, a lot of small business entrepreneurs are on Etsy selling their stuff that they're making at home. And in the time of COVID, it's very important to really focus on supporting these small business owners rather than a Walmart or, some of these other places that, sell for bulk and get things done cheaper. But in the end, only benefit their bottom line. They don't treat their employees right. They don't give them health care. They don't do none of that. And in the midst of COVID, really, there is no benefit for going out of your way and being, going the extra mile as an employee.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up. So we had a snowstorm up here.
We did.
Yeah, and I have an all-wheel drive car, as do you. But we got over a foot.
Yeah, I ended up getting 16 inches. I measured in some places.
Yeah, and
on my property.
And here I am, like, I'm gonna wipe off my car. I'll be fine. I'm leaving at 11. I'm gonna drive out of my driveway.
Good luck.
I got stuck because the snow was so high. My neighbor had to come out and literally help me dig my car out. And then she was behind my car and pushed me. And I remember rolling down the window and be like, thank you. She's like, don't stop. And so I just kept going. And I fishtailed into the street. And then I got on my way. But the point is, I then sent her a message once I got to the deli, and I said, hey, thank you so much for all your help. I want to buy you dinner tonight because they have this great dinner special.
Right.
And she was like, not during COVID, no. Call me. I'll give you my credit card. Thank you for the offer. We would love for you to bring us dinner, but we're going to pay for it. So I think, that is, one of those things that you're talking about, supporting local.
Right.
She helped me in a big way, but she was like, no. I have the money. I can do it. I want to support local.
It's a beautiful thing to see small business owners really making ends meet, right? Because as we know, our opener, $600 really is not going to cut it. After 8.5 months of going through what we've been going through with COVID, $600 is really not going to do nothing for everyone that is either facing the fact that they're going to get evicted, which got extended, by the way, the eviction protection. It's really hard for a lot of Americans right now. And so when I can, I support those small business places and owners. And so I ended up buying a floating, handmade wooden shelf that I put on my wall. And I'm looking to paint, and I'm bringing in some blues.
And she's
blah,
asking
blah.
the colorblind boy what do you think
of the color? But she walked in and she was like, oh my God, this looks so much better than it did on the photo that you sent.
Yeah.
But so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was having a conversation with a small business owner that sent me this amazing, beautiful handmade creation that he made. And he was like, please, if you really love it, make sure that you leave a review, because that, of course, drives what people think of the product that said person is selling. And I said, oh, absolutely. But you have to make sure that, everything looks great. So I ended up writing something to him, and I'm going to actually bring it up because it's important. He immediately messaged me and said, hey, your unit is on the way, blah, blah, blah. And so I responded with, oh my God, this is great news. Thank you. I will most definitely be on the lookout for the unit. The unit finally arrived. I opened it up. It was gorgeous. And I replied and I said, I received the unit yesterday. It is absolutely stunning, worthy of an amazing review. And I will absolutely review your unit once I paint the walls, hide all the cables, because work such as yours deserves to be showcased with the respect and decor worthy of such a masterpiece, because truly it was. And once everything is all set and I feel comfortable, I'm going to take a nice, beautiful picture and I'm going to post it and give this person an absolutely amazing review.
That's great.
And so that's what I'm working on. As Nick said, summertime, heat, outside, new patio, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm working on the inside. So you don't be surprised if the studio is painted gray next week.
I just want my rainbow border. Okay?
So it happens. It happens. That's all she wants. She would be happy with a rainbow or a unicorn. You just
Oh my God, if I had a unicorn, like a real one,
they don't exist.
I know. But I want one. Nonetheless.
So that being said, it's just there's a lot of news. So in the UK, it has been brought to our attention, at least I saw it on the news, that there is a new strain of the coronavirus
Yeah,
that
I heard
came
that
out
this
in the
morning.
UK. About 20 countries so far have blocked or banned travel in or from to or from the UK at this moment,
Including Canada.
And this could really be put a damper on our efforts to first and foremost have 2 vaccines that are currently being distributed that may or may not be effective against this new strain. And so all we can say is be very careful. I'm telling you, 2020 wasn't done with us yet. Like, we were wondering, okay, December came, vaccines were in the mist. Finally, they were released. Moderna and Pfizer.
Yep.
We're starting to see a lot of amazing people be the first in the world or the first in the nation to get a vaccine. We were one in Connecticut. One of our
Did you see the one photo of Bernie Sanders getting the vaccine?
I didn't.
Somebody made a quote on it. They were like, "Oh no, they're putting Bernie down." And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't handle this."
No, but it's it's a good thing that we got a vaccine so quickly and so effectively, right? The efficacy of this vaccine is set to be 95% effective, and so if you have an opportunity to take it, do so.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird though. I mean, I think I'll take it, but
I'm definitely
I
taking
heard of a hospital in I think Ohio who stopped giving the vaccine because they had 5 employees have a terrible reaction to
right.
it.
But those are expected. So the amount of reactions that people are having worldwide is less than 2%, which is pretty good considering the fact that this vaccine was developed in less than 12 months.
Yeah.
And we have to do our part, right? We're in the middle of this. We're about to go into Christmas. Today is the 21st of December. It is the shortest day of the year and the longest night. And after today, we start gaining daylight.
Thank God.
And so we are on a path to eventual spring and the use of our patio again. I can't wait. And overall, it's just do your due diligence, wash your hands, and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So, listen, we do have our guest, and we don't want to be late. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave you with some music. You know the drill. And when we come back, we have our guest, Micheal Block, talk about his new podcast, Block Talk. Here we go.
She was waiting by the back door, said, babe, we gotta leave town. Get your shit, get your suitcase, your dog, your guitar, cause we gotta go now, cause they're coming. Well, they know our fucking names, yes, they're coming, just to say, well, I know you don't want to leave your life. You've had some blood and tears, little joy, little strife. But they're coming, well, they're coming down the road, yes, they're coming, truth be told. And don't forget the whiskey, and don't forget your history. It was never their land in the first place, but they're coming just to say. A knapsack full of judgment, hypocrisy, and lies. And they're talking so much hateful bullshit, they've begun to gather flies. But they're coming, well, don't look them in the eyes. Yes, they're coming, no surprise. And with so much terror in our past, how are you so surprised it's come to bite you in the ass? Yes, it's coming. Well, it's nipping at your heels. Yes, it's coming for the kill. And don't forget the whiskey, and don't forget your history. It was never their land to sell or trade. I'll meet you at the station where we can get on that train. Head out to the wastelands where we can change our names. 'Cause they're coming. Well, they know our fucking names. Yes, they're coming. Just the same. Just the same. Just the same. Just the same.
All right, welcome back from the break. That was, of course, Wastelands by the amazing Amanda Barrack. She's a previous guest of ours. She is the daughter of Linda Stay, also a previous guest of ours.
And a mama.
Mm-hmm. She's a mama dragon, and I just absolutely love her music. I love her spoken word material. Check out her album, Wastelands. It's available on iTunes and all the major streaming services out there. Make sure that you go check them out. My mouth is very juicy right now.
Yeah, I can tell.
1. 2, I'm also probably going to start speaking cursive anytime
Proud of
soon.
you.
And I'm also very proud because, having our little beverages and meetings and all that good stuff. So anyway, joining us now, of course, is our guest, Micheal Block. He is the host of Block Talk, a podcast with a variety of topics to tickle those lovely minds of our listeners. We're super excited. We're going to have a conversation with him, and then we will request and ask that you go and check out his podcast and just subscribe and listen and support members of the LGBT community doing amazing things.
Wait, you're gay, Micheal?
A little bit, yeah. Shocking, right?
So anyway, make sure that you go support LGBTQ people doing amazing things and keeping us entertained and busy during this COVID craziness that we're going through. So Micheal, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
It is our pleasure to have you. Of course, I met you today earlier.
Yes.
You and I and Nick, of course, had an opportunity to talk before we went live. But you and Nick have a history.
Yeah. We've known each other, 10 plus years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess junior year of college it would have been.
Yeah. We were like young and spriteful and
yeah, I decided to, I was waiting to go onto Facebook and look at like the See Friendship thing, and there's a singular photo of the two of us, and wow, I will say for myself, I've definitely grown up a little bit.
Yeah, well,
I think we all have.
haven't. Oh.
I think we all have, though. COVID really has pushed us to the brink of either discovering yourself, becoming an alcoholic, or just flat out just diving into depression.
Well, what about all three?
Yeah, I understand that one.
So, Micheal, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from, what you're doing,
and how we met,
and how you guys met.
Yeah, so I am originally from New Jersey, in a town called Mahwah. It's right on the border of New York State, and I basically got involved in theater in high school, which led me to college. And through that, I went to Boston University. And my school was not big into this little competition called Kennedy Center College Theater Festival. But for some reason, 2 years in a row, my school decided to enter a show that I was stage managing into this festival. And for 2 years, I got to go as a nominee as a stage manager. In my senior year, I actually ended up winning the stage manager.
Me. I came in second.
I won the award. It was coincidental that day I was stage managing the show that we submitted, and I fell on black ice, messed up my neck, and I got this award with a neck brace on. It was so much fun. But through that, I got to go to the Kennedy Center for a free week of theater, which was really incredible. And through that, I kept doing theater and stage managing, and I kind of got bored of that because it's very much a thankless job. But in college, I was writing plays here and there. Got to do a little more writing, and then through the New York Fringe Festival, I had a friend who was looking to get a play reviewed. I just had started my website, Theater in the Now. I had never reviewed a show before. I said, sure, why not? It snowballed from there because I was added to press list after press list after press list. I was part of the Drama Desk Awards as a theater critic. And then I fell out of love with theater because once money gets involved, it becomes very nasty and dangerous. So at that time, I was starting to work in nightlife, and I started working with a podcast and doing a little mix of theater interviews and drag interviews, and that's where we are now. I mean, my podcasts, we're over 230 episodes. We have covered Drag Race, we have covered Dragula. I've done interviews with so many New York nightlife staples, some of which who have been on Drag Race, some of which will be on Drag Race in the future. Who knows? But it's been a labor of love, and I love being able to talk to people about their lives.
I was saying this earlier to Nick that, podcasting is seriously a labor of love, right? It's you emceeing, talking about subjects that are near and dear to your heart, talking to guests, making no money, right? Because you don't. It's the nature of the game. Unless you're like Seth Rogen, you just don't make money. But it's a labor of love. And so while I was doing the intro during our first half, I'd mentioned that you were a new podcast, and Nick was like, no.
Well, I didn't realize, actually. Today, I was like, wait, hold on. I'm listening to episode 233. What the how long has this been here? How did I not know about it? And his response to me was, social media is weird.
It is. I mean, things get lost.
Yeah.
So my apology, but your podcast has been running longer than we have. We launched in March of 2016. Your podcast has been going strong since 2015. Am I correct?
Yep. That's correct.
And so, first and foremost, congratulations, because
thank you.
We do it with 3, 4, 5, 6 people, depending on who decides they want to show up for the day. You're doing this solo. You're the host, right? And it takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of love for the craft of podcasting to do what you do. And so, on that alone, congratulations.
Thank you.
Seriously.
It's literally a full-time job.
So, but I also
it really is.
How do you manage booking everybody and producing the show?
It's very, very difficult. I mean, I have had many a guest cancel on me last minute and having to pull from somebody pre-COVID, I would do all my interviews live in my apartment, either in my quote-unquote studio room or in the living room before I moved into the big room. But thankfully, with COVID, I'm able to do interviews remotely, and I'm able to interview more people that way. But it's very difficult because I bring on different people to do recaps of Drag Race. Mm-hmm. So I have to make sure not only is that person watching the season, that they are actually going to take notes and focus on the show so we can have a real conversation about Drag Race. Mm-hmm. But it's difficult. It's not an easy thing to do, but I love it so much that I'm not going to stop.
Right.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't.
Please don't. Please don't. But I wanted to mention, so the fact that you beat Nick out for an award, you do realize that he's never given that up, and he's never going to let you down for that.
Look, I'm sorry, but we were both very successful in our field.
But she
until
beat
COVID. She did beat me.
And there's some sort of like I feel excited about that. The fact, because I know how driven this bitch is. I honestly do. And the fact that someone beat you makes me feel good in a way, but it also, she's never going to let that shit go.
What are you talking
about? I think that you better watch your back at some point.
How long has it been? You're still alive. You're fine.
I know. It's been over 10 years at this point.
You know, actually, it's really funny that you bring that up because I was in my
She was bitter. She was.
I wasn't bitter.
Look at his face.
No, I was at ATL. And it was
Uh-huh.
after I graduated from college, and I got a text message from my professor saying that I won a production management award at KCACTF. I'm like, I'm not even in college anymore. How did I win award. So
And
weird.
it was one of those situations where, again, my school, it wasn't a big deal, but Nick, your school, that was a big competition for y'all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And so for me getting it, it was an honor.
And again, you beat him.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking. I wanted it, but it was also one of those things where I was stage managing a show, and I had to give up stage managing for an entire week to do this thing in DC, and they were livid at me. I was like, "You're the ones who sent me to win this award, and now you're getting mad at me for leaving you because we have a production going up next week. Not my fault. I'm taking the free trip."
Yeah, we were in the middle of Tommy, which is like a massive musical.
You were in the middle of me?
No. Tommy the musical.
God, I hope not. There's a
By
lot
the
of
Hill.
middle in here.
But I'll never forget. I left for a week and I came back and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
You lost.
No. Talking about the musical.
Oh, Tommy. Okay. So,
anyway. Winning isn't everything, but I got nominated last night officially for the Glam Awards for Best Podcast for the New York City Nightlife, and I really want to win this one.
Yeah.
I
This
hope
is
you
like
do.
the first thing it is a public vote we've learned this year, and I'm up against Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange for their podcast. So I'm not sure I have the fan base for it, but I would love to do it. I'd love to
Listen,
win.
let me tell you something. Don't put yourself down. You can still win it. Everything is possible. You just never know. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people out there like Bob the Drag Queen and all these amazing other, like, people that have starred and been all-stars on RuPaul's Drag Race. I watch the show. And so, you know what? Maybe someday you and I can, connect.
Absolutely, come on.
And come on and talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. She is not all about
Absolutely.
that, but I am. I love it. But, just have faith in yourself. Love what you do regardless, whether you win or not. But if you win, great. And good luck.
Thank you.
So I want to ask about the progression of your podcast. So when we first started, we didn't really know what our show was. It took shape probably around...
Oh, we knew what we were going to do. Like, our goal when we first started our podcast was to...
sit around the table, like the gay drunk view, basically.
Yes. Like, get drunk and badmouth people and blah, blah, blah. And, just be very catty gay bitches around my dinner table, which was where we started.
But it changed a lot.
Right.
And for us, it happened around Pulse. So when Pulse happened, we realized that we had a platform and we realized that we had
a responsibility
to actually serve our community in a positive way. And that's kind of what shifted. And then, of course, Donald Trump got elected. And then we had 4 years of fucking crazy content that we had to cover.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, like, what was the process for you in your show? And, like, how did you come from theater, the arts, to now, working and talking with RuPaul's drag queens and so on and so forth and reviewing that?
So with my website, Theater the Now, I was doing interviews nonstop. And basically those interviews where I would send you the questions, it would be the same questions for every performer that I would send it to. And they would give me their answers. I would post it, and it was great. I was missing having a connection, and I was also looking for a way to expand my website. Podcasting in 2015 was kind of newish. Not many people were doing it. So I was like, let me try it. I got my dad got me a microphone, and I interviewed 2 friends of mine who had productions coming up, and I was like, let's use this as a way to extend the interviews that I would normally do and have a conversation so people can hear what you're doing as opposed to reading it. Did those, and more people came on to plug their projects. But as I was falling out of theater because I wrote a musical as part of Nymph and had such a negative experience, I was getting into drag, and I had all these drag artists coming to me being like, can we talk? I want to share why I do drag, because you don't get that opportunity really when you're on a microphone at a bar. You are there performing for a crowd, doing what they want you to do for money.
That's right.
And I said, sure, let's do this. But one thing that I have always done, like I mentioned, the questions on my website, are the same questions I still ask from 10 years ago.
And what are those?
Usually the very first question with theater and with drag is, why theater, why drag? Some variation of that. And even with the drag interviews, like I basically will take out a name, put a new name in, replace certain questions, but everyone will get the same questions through a different journey. And it's my opportunity to showcase that everyone is still the same, but with a different journey.
Have you seen, like, have you had people reach out to you and thank you for what the content you're putting out? Like, have you felt, like, have you had that, like, we've had enlightening moments where it's like, oh, we're doing this right. People are reaching out and saying thank you. Like, I finally feel connected to a community.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that. I've actually been able to bring on some of those people to the podcast. I was like, you know what? You've been there supporting me. Come do a recap of Drag Race Canada. But it was actually this October, I was at a bar for Halloween, and someone came up to me. I had known him through passing through the bar. He had followed me on Instagram. That was about it. He's like, can I sit with you and talk? And I was like, sure. And he just gushed and was like, you don't understand how important your podcast is, and how the way you critique drag is so important. And he had originally found me through one of my written reviews of Jackie Cox when she was at the Laurie Beechman Theater doing her solo cabaret. And it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I'm not doing this for myself. People are listening. People are actually taking in what I'm saying and accepting it or disagreeing, whatever they want to say on it, but they're listening. And that was really the boost I needed to know that, like, even in this age of COVID, people are still tuning in, even if they're not on their way to work listening all the time or getting into drag listening. There are still listeners who are loyal.
And especially now amidst COVID, right? You want that connection. You want to be able to say that, you know, I feel like I'm still keeping up with culture, keeping up with what's going on, even though we're not able to connect in a physical way. I wanted to go back to your description about talking about how you formulated your questions. It's very similar to the Actor Studio, right? At the end of the Actor Studio's interview, he always has the same, like, set of questions that he asks everyone, and they're, like, sort of, like, on the spotlight. Like, you know, here are my questions, go, right? And I think it's amazing, right, to have a format which people can identify with, to have a format that people can expect, and see how each individual that you have that comes on your show handles those questions in a different way. And to see how each one of those questions prompts a journey for each individual in a different way. And I think that's great. We fly off the cuff. Our format is, we talk about what happened, you know, in the past week. We try to stay relevant in regards to what we're talking about. But half the time, we're having organic conversations. We don't write down questions or send anybody questions. This is what we're going to ask you. No, we're going to talk.
Yeah. Honestly, when people ask me to send them questions, I'm like, fine.
Like, really?
Yeah. I've only experienced that a couple times. But I am definitely someone who will write down the questions. I want to make sure I formulate the question the way I hope I'll get an answer that I'm looking for.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've kept the format very similar. There are variations of the podcast. There are the recaps. There are the interviews. There's Make Mike Watch, where I have people come over and watch movies that I've never seen before, and I react to them. So there's different things. But when it comes to the solo interviews that I do, they're always regimented the same way. There's always a structure to them. The games will be in the same order usually. And the thing that I love to do on those interviews is I have my previous guest ask my current guest a question. They don't get to know who the guest is. They just have to ask a question. And that's a way for everyone to tune in later to see what that person's going to say to the question that they asked.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to steal that.
Yeah,
no,
100%.
No,
100%.
but obviously we'll give Block Talk the credit. You know, this is an idea from Block Talk.
TM.
TM, yeah.
Yeah, it's that has been one of my favorite things, because there are times, like, I'll have a guest come on and I'll be like, get to that portion and like, oh, I have no idea. I didn't think about anything. It's like, but you've listened to the podcast before. You know it's coming.
Yeah.
And that's also what's enjoyable is having people come on, knowing the questions are going to be the same and still respond with, oh, that's a great question.
All right, so I'm going to play a game with you right now before we, wrap this up. What was your favorite question? And feel free to ask us.
Oh, God.
Oh, we just put him on the spot.
Yeah.
I know that there have been so many wild questions. One of the most recent ones was, would you eat a cockroach for $200?
No.
No.
Actually, it's COVID. Maybe.
If it wasn't my mac and cheese and I didn't know about it, perhaps.
Sorry.
And like that's the thing. It's like I get questions like that. Sometimes there'll be more drag questions, like how far will you go in drag? Have you ever been hurt in drag? Things that I normally would not ask, but get the opportunity to ask because someone else wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike, let me ask you a question.
Oh,
Sure.
If you had an opportunity to do drag right now, what would be your favorite eyeshadow color?
So I have a virtual screen on right now, but if you were to see into my room, my favorite color is teal. I love teal, and I think I would rock teal.
That's amazing. Well, first and foremost, none of our guests or our listeners can see you. Only we can. So feel free to show us what your room looks like. We don't care. It's okay. If I were to be in drag, one of my favorite colors, and I always gravitate towards this color, and I don't know why, is purple. Purple, magentas, that color palette to me is everything.
Yeah.
What about you, Trish?
Yeah.
Just think about it. Well, I mean, she's so obsessed with rainbows.
Oh, hell no.
So she'll probably paint a rainbow on her face. Can you ask him why we call her Trish?
I've gotten a lot gayer since you've known me.
Is that possible?
Oh.
I guess you might be right. Sorry, what did you say?
I said to him
why
to ask
you
you
Trish?
why they call you
What are we
Trish.
calling-
Why we call you Trish.
Oh, well, I obviously worked in theater, part-time job. We were both bartenders. That's how we met.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was given female names at some point, and they named me Trish, and I hated it.
And it stuck.
And it was the only one that stuck.
Once in a blue moon, they still call me Agnes. That was mine.
Okay. Very old-fashioned.
Right.
So
Seriously.
now, if you were ever to do drag, are you going to be Trish?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would do drag.
If I were to ever do drag, my name would be Clitori Marie.
That's not bad. That's not
It's
bad.
not, but that's... So, I'll tell you, I lived in Puerto Rico for about a hot minute, like 2 years. And in my time there, it was very on and off. So, I got bullied a lot because I didn't know Spanish too well. And I wasn't American enough. Right?
Now you
It's
don't know
just like,
English or Spanish.
I
too
don't.
well.
Listen, bitch. I think in 2 languages, so it's hard for me to like vocalize a lot of things. Okay.
We know.
But anyway, I met this group of friends. They were very out there, very rockish, like rockeros as we called them in Spanish. And so it wasn't the crowd that I was into, but it was the crowd that accepted me. And really like showed me that, hey, regardless of our differences, we're still going to have fun and be great. And so one of my friends kept saying, if I ever have a daughter, her name was going to be Clitori Marie. And I was like, that makes like a great drag name. I'm just going to store that in the back of my head. And eventually, if I ever become a drag queen, that's going to be my name. And it's funny that we're having this conversation now.
Yeah, no.
There you go.
Do you have a
So-
drag
now-
name?
No, I have not done drag. I don't have any ambitions to do drag. I produce drag. I have, again, COVID screws up everything. I was producing 2 very successful drag competitions in New York. One called Iconic at Icon in Astoria. The other was Drag Race Star at Club Coming in the East Village.
Oh, I love Alan.
And yeah, I mean, he was going to be our finale judge, but we never got to the finale.
Really quickly, the sign in his club was made by Long Wharf Theater.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's a really amazing place, and it devastates me that I didn't get to finish that competition
Yeah.
because it was a live singing competition. We couldn't really do it digitally, so we just had to say we're on pause. Hopefully, one day we'll get back to it. But I produce drag. I get to judge drag. I get to critique drag. I know I would be terrible in drag. I have bad knees. I can't do anything crazy. Like I'm bad at memorizing anything. I would not be a good drag queen, so I'm not going to put myself through it. I'm also a bit of a perfectionist. For some of the digital shows that I've been producing, I decided to put some eyeshadow on, put a little bead on. I'm a perfectionist. I've hated every single thing I've done because it's not perfect, and I don't think I would have the regimented time to learn how to do makeup the way some of these queens do.
No, yeah, no.
I
They
can't.
look.
I came up with a name for him,
Oh God.
like right away.
Oh boy.
Needlessly Susan.
What?
Okay, all right.
I don't quite get it.
Well, he was talking about, like knees and not having the stomach for it, so needlessly Susan.
Oh, he has a stomach for his knees. Anyway.
But
So-
here's what I appreciate, right? There's always it's always important when someone takes time to take something that is so near and dear to our community, which is drag, right? And focus on that and be able to tell stories of people of why you do drag, what's the importance of drag, and think about all the people in our own LGBTQ history that have made changes for the positive, for the better, as a result of their work and their advocacy and being drag queens. It's amazing, and that's awesome that you get to tell their stories.
Yeah, it's been a joy, and there are so many people I would love to talk to. It's finding the time because it is not the most high paying opportunity in the world, but if I could do this 24/7 and have someone be able to edit and do all the things that I don't love doing, perhaps I'd be able to interview nonstop. But
Right.
there are so many more stories to tell, and I'm grateful that I get to be someone to share them.
That's amazing.
So my last thing for you before I let you go is I heard on one of your episodes that you had somebody from the town that the movie Where the Heart Is was filmed or is about.
Mhm.
Now, have you seen the movie yet?
No.
Oh my God, Mike, I can't. I don't understand how you haven't seen that movie. It's like a classic movie. It's about the Walmart baby.
Nope, haven't seen it. Like I said, there is a reason why I have some podcasts called Make Mike Watch, because there are a lot of movies I have missed. Like we started off with Dirty Dancing, had never seen it. I'd never seen Singing in the Rain. I haven't seen Black Swan. But through I didn't see the entire Harry Potter series, and we only got through the first 4 before COVID.
Oh, you just insulted her.
This is what has been fun is, I get to do these heartfelt interviews, but I also get to have fun and watch these movies for the first time and react to it and mock it with people who adore it. I mean, there are videos of me watching Black Swan. I have a bit of a nail phobia, so not the best movie for me. The person I watched it with filmed me watching those moments, screaming for dear life.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you just literally smacked him with a Horcrux.
Yeah.
Just
I
done.
love Harry Potter. Anyway.
He does. He's obsessed. Well, listen, my friend, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's amazing. I'm going to go subscribe right now.
Thank
And
you.
listen. And I encourage that our listeners do the same. We have to, as members of the LGBT community and our allies, support each other. It's important. But I want to give you an opportunity to plug yourself. Please let people know, first and foremost, if they wanted to connect with you on social media, how they can do that. Do you have a website? And where is your podcast available? Plug yourself.
Absolutely. Well, if you want to connect with me, the best place to do it is on Instagram. You can follow me at Micheal Block Talk. I love Instagram. You can see all my crazy photos. Apparently, me dressing up as 2 characters of Kathy Bates for Halloween this year
Love
has
it.
gotten me the most likes I've ever gotten. I don't post as much on the website anymore, but you can follow me on theaterthenow.com, Theater in the Now on Twitter, and Yeah, follow Block Talks, download, subscribe, leave some 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Stitcher.
Oh, you're
Just follow,
everywhere.
just follow
Thank
her
you.
on Instagram. We're gonna make sure that we support each other. And thank you for taking
Thanks for having
time
me.
out of your day to join
And
us.
come on whenever you want.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll be in touch because seriously,
Yes.
I would love to have a conversation about Drag Race. There's a lot of like my favorites that I have that I hold near and dear. Bianca Del Rio is one of my all-time favorites because she
Brilliant.
is a cunt and I love it.
Mhm.
She is a cunt with a capital C.
She's amazing.
And yeah, I'll help you pack. Remember that? I loved Can I help you pack? She's awesome. But anyway,
She's classic.
Michael, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It was so good to see you.
Good seeing you.
We'll stay connected.
All right, well, ladies and gents, that of course was our guest, Michael Block. Make sure that you go check out the podcast, Block Talk. It's available on iTunes and, of course, all of the other spaces that are available for your podcasting pleasure. We're going to have all that information noted on our website, of course, on tonight's post so that you guys could go ahead and check it out. And we encourage that you do. It's always amazing when we have members of our community doing great things, and I'm just super excited.
Yeah,
So-
no. I mean, it's just great to reconnect. But anyway, so we have to jump into a couple things,
Right.
and we haven't talked about anything gay yet.
Right. So I'm going
So-
to leave that up to you because you're all super gay. That's who you are and what you do. I mean, I am too. Don't get me wrong, but she outgays me any day.
What are you talking about?
Oh, are you kidding me? It's like, hello, you walk in rainbows, just shoot out your ass. It's the truth.
Oh, God. Just be nice to me for once in your
I
life.
love you. I absolutely love every nook and cranny of you, even though I haven't been in a lot of those nooks, but I do. I
None
love
of those nooks.
None of those nooks. And that would never happen. That's like my sister. But anyway,
You're nasty.
I know.
All right, so I wanted to bring up again, we talked, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we talked about the student that was suspended for wearing nail polish.
That's right.
So this is obviously a little bit older because we missed an entire week, but he actually went and talked and faced the school board to defend himself and get his suspension, revoked and
As
go
he
back
should,
to school.
right?
100%. And the school board literally, again, denied him, saying that he didn't follow the rules, didn't follow the right protocol to put paint on his nails, and then went ahead to say that they were not discriminating against him
Well, of
for
course
being
they
gay. 100% they were.
were. Of course they were. I mean, listen, I could see if you went and wore something that was political, a shirt that made a political statement while you're in school, and they said that's not appropriate to wear. We need to stay neutral. We're in a school environment. We're here to learn. We're not here to make a political statement.
Mhm.
But something so personal as wearing eyeshadow or painting your nails or letting your hair grow out or, just being who you are as a person, how you identify, clearly that's an issue. And this school obviously is having a problem with that. And interestingly enough, before we went on break last week, because we took a week off, we had watched Prom,
Oh, yeah.
right? Amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. It's awesome. But it really talks to the fact that, there are people who would much rather put people down and hold them back and being who they truly are authentically just for the sake of pushing through an agenda.
Mhm.
And when you're in school and you're learning how to be someone, you're a young adult growing into yourself, that is not the place nor the time that you need adults pushing back at you and telling you that you can't do something that feels right,
Mhm.
that feels like who you are.
Yeah, and to go back to the story, I mean, he said to the school board, "Why is it against dress code for a man to be comfortable enough with his masculinity and defy gender norms? Why is it harmful for me to wear nail polish if it's not harmful for a girl to wear nail
Right.
polish?" Like, he's 100% right.
Right.
Why is it harmful to him or anybody else? It's not.
And yet here we are. They still denied this person the opportunity for them to be who they are.
Yeah, actually, Mike, you're still here. So if you want to chime in, and do you have any thoughts on this?
I just watching it all unfold has been heartbreaking.
It
just don't understand. I
Mm-hmm.
know that I am very much in a bubble in New York City, but I just can't fathom it.
So we find on our show, we have a lot of people reach out to us from different areas across the United States, Russia, you name it. And they continually say, thank you. You feel, you like give me a community. But like then you see this kid who is growing up, who is in high school, who is having his education taken away from him just because he wanted to paint his fucking nails.
Right. And you see
And that
a
is
lot of
happening
people-
in the fucking United States right now.
Right. But I think that a lot of that, it also lends itself to happening because of where this individual is growing up. and
Which
where they're going to
sucks.
school. It sucks, you know, and you have to think of the fact that, you know, we are in 2020, which is, God, a horrible year.
Let it go.
And we're about to go into 2021. And, you know, this is 1950s, 1960s, and 70s mentality. Let it the fuck go. I mean, you're in your last leg. You're probably a baby boomer about to retire, and you're literally giving this individual a hard time for wearing nail polish. It's fucking nail polish.
And
like,
what-
get over your shit.
What made me proud about this individual was the fact that he not only addressed the fact that he was an openly proud gay man, but he was also addressing like gender norms, gender roles, and the
Right.
fact that, you know, there's nothing in their student handbook or their school handbook that says he can't do what he wants to do by wearing nail polish. But on top of that, what he did, which I thought was really important, was acknowledge and level with the school board and say, I understand you have traditional values. Those values change over time.
Right.
This board will change over time.
Right.
And I value the fact that you are the board, you know, the school board for, you know, this county or whatnot. But the reality is, this is my life and this is my education, and your
Correct.
traditional values are now impacting and taking away from my
Right.
education.
And you're not doing the same, right? Like, as an
And
individual
he's
who
not
has nail
hiding
polish
himself.
on.
He's not hiding
Right.
himself. He's saying, he's being honest and open. He's like, I am a gay man.
Right.
You have values. I have values. We have values. Let's find a fucking medium. Let's find a
You
happy
don't even
common
have
ground.
to find a medium. Here's the thing. My values and what I believe in don't affect what you can believe in your fucking house, in your place of worship. But this is a public school. And in a public school, we all have an opportunity to be who we are and express ourselves. And your personal values should not impact how I receive my education and how I look and I choose to represent myself as an individual. And that is important to understand.
So the actual quote is, traditional values are great, but change is inevitable.
Right.
At what point do we look at the bigger picture and realize that this isn't 50 years ago? We are all supposed to be equal, not having our own freedom to express ourselves, not having our own voice not heard because grown-ups are taking 3 steps back
Right.
instead of forward.
Well, again, most likely a baby boomer who's about to, you know,
No, I'm just really proud of
sit
this
back.
this
You have
individual.
to be.
Yeah.
You can't really like read the story and first of all not be mad, but also not be proud at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this young person took the opportunity to stand strong in their conviction and go and face the board head on and say, this is not right. And so that deserves accolades, that deserves recognition, and that also deserves the support of our community, of, you know, organizations like, for example, the HRC, and people that are out there that can make changes. Go out there, advocate for this person, submit a lawsuit for discrimination based on their
That
sex.
actually might stick, unlike a Trump lawsuit.
Actually, yes, which is the truth. And to think about that, just last July, even in the midst of 2020, we passed legislation in the House that protects LGBTQ people, including members of our trans community, from being discriminated in the workforce simply for being who they are. And I think that those discriminatory practices could be encompassed in this legislation that was passed and the laws that were passed to protect our youngsters, our people that are going to school and using public institutions to educate themselves, yet being subjected to personal things that people hold because of where they worship
Right.
or how they grew up.
So my question to both of you, since Mike, you're still with us, so the district will assure that no student is treated in a discriminatory or inequitable manner moving forward without changing anything to the student handbook. That being said, current rules, right? So they're claiming he can't, as a man, wear nail polish.
They're gender biased. They're
Right.
still gender biased.
So, but they're saying they're not discriminating, right?
Right.
What is your take on that? How is that not discriminating?
They're using it as an excuse because they're saying, well, after the school year, they're still doing it now.
Right.
And that's the problem, is that I don't see them changing it in the future because they're going to still have this as an excuse. And it's really sad, and it's going to have to build up to something bigger and into probably a bit of a movement for them to actually understand why this is so wrong now.
Right.
Well, I mean, I feel like personally, this board should feel ashamed at how much attention they're getting currently.
They should, but they don't. Because whoever this person is holding strong to their values and convictions. And they're like, fuck you, I'm not going to let this, so-called 17, 16, 15, whatever your age is, tell me as an adult who I can and cannot be. And I have to tell you one thing. I'm really proud of this generation that's growing up. Yes, there's a lot of issues with them not really recognizing our past and our history and really growing up in a space in where they didn't have to worry about all the things and the trials and the tribulations and all the hurt that we had to grow up with, being someone in my age group.
Which
But
is how old?
Shut up, bitch. That's not nice. But I'm very proud of our young generation because they are willing to throw it out there. Throw it all out there with no reservations whatsoever and be able to actually just not care and say, I am who I am and I'm going to go out there and fight. And
I do have to correct myself a little bit because I guess the school does ban males from wearing nail polish and makeup, which means I would be fucked.
right. It's like your color correction would be like, they would flag you as soon
What are
as
you
you walk
talking
into
about?
the
It's
door.
not makeup. This is color corrector.
Right. It's like, hello.
That would be my argument.
Yeah. I just think, you know what? Here's what I have to say to this young, amazing person.
Trevor.
Be strong. Stand your ground and absolutely do what it is that makes you feel you. And
You've
don't
been emotional all day. Do you want to talk about that?
do. Don't let anybody ever take that away from you. I've been emotional only because, it's the holidays and fucking COVID is preventing me from really letting my guard down and really enjoying my family. My mother's here. And I can't really enjoy being with mom and my brother in the same space and not having to worry about the fact that I could kill my mother by simply visiting her.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Walking in through the door, sitting down, having dinner, and 2 weeks from now, my mother is either in ICU, freaking incubated, or dead.
Yeah. I mean, you're technically my pod. You're one of 3 people in my pod.
I have no choice. You are mine.
Yeah.
So-
Do you have a pod?
I mean, I have my roommates. I have my one friend who we've been quarantining together, and I have been traveling back and forth to New Jersey. In April, I did lose my dad.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And we're getting through it, but like that, it was very much we didn't know if it was COVID or not, and they decided not to test it, so we'll never get that answer. But yeah, so it's been a little difficult to try to navigate things. I did have COVID at some point. Don't know when exactly. I have the antibodies, but it's in New York. My pod has expanded a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Are you planning on seeing your family for the holidays?
I will be going home to New Jersey. It will be just me, my mom, and a family friend, and that's it.
It's so crazy.
Crazy.
And weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird and small, and it's all I can say is this: listen, there's always 2021 or even potentially 2022. Sacrifice a year, maybe a year and a half or two, and keep the ones that you love safe, and then you'll be able to get together and really have and enjoy each other.
Yeah. And if this thing isn't rectified for Trevor by the new year, I'm gonna paint my nails.
I'm gonna paint my nails
in solidarity, and I don't paint my nails. I buff them.
I will probably do. What color do you think I should do? Red?
Girl, I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'll do red. I want it to show, and I want it to stand out.
We know.
Yeah. I'm bright like that. All right, well, listen, we need to wrap things up, so I want to thank you all for tuning in today. We've got just 2 more things that we need to cover with you, and then we're going to bring it home. One of the first things, of course, is our Mama Kim's Minute, our beloved Mama Kim. Nick,
all right, everybody, so here's Mama Kim's Minute. Number 1, the 55 biggest homophobes of the last 55 years. Number 2, Switzerland passes marriage equality, which is a huge public support. And number 3, Jonathan Bennett has no time for anti-gay Christmas house.
And I'm proud of him. Nobody should ever have to. Right? So, all right. Well, listen, our Gay Talk term, of course, is brought to you by
GayRealEstate.com. And also, I picked this one kind of because of you in a weird way, but it doesn't really make sense. But anyway, so your Gay Talk term is first dramatic role, which is the initial homosexual experience, one's giant step into active homosexuality.
For a moment there, I thought it would have been the first dramatic role is when he beat you for that award.
That was probably it, but he's never going to let that go.
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, ladies and gents, on this day in gay history, of course, it was Elton.
Brought to you by
GayRealEstate.com. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Intern.
When December 21st, 2005, where in the UK, Elton John enters into a civil partnership with David Furnish. Is that his name? Furnish?
I'm not following.
Well, the couple had been dating since 1993. They hold a low-key ceremony at the Windsor Gaytalk, followed by a lavish party at their Berkshire mansion, thought to have cost them an estimated 1 million euros. It's not USD, euros. And I think Liza Minnelli at the time, is she still alive?
Yes.
Very much so.
She may have been a part of that wedding. Or was it Elizabeth Taylor's the one that I was thinking of? I think Liz Taylor was there.
I don't know.
Of that union. Anyway. Well, ladies and gents, you see how crazy we can get. We sort of kind of like lose track of things when we're reading stuff. But anyway, I would like to thank you all for joining us. If you love the show, make sure you go subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By doing so, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your web browser or your device as soon as our episodes are published. You can, as a listener, support us on Patreon. Patreon is a service that allows our listeners to support the show with a monetary donation, which can be, which we collect monthly and can be in any denomination of $1 or more. Am I still going?
Yep.
All right. Well, next week, let me take my time on this one because I didn't read this. So next week, we welcome Emerson Collins. He is an actor, producer, and director in film, television, and theater, who also works as a television personality, radio host, panelist, event MC, workshop teacher, and write as a contributor for various media outlets.
You nailed it.
Yes, queen.
All right. So thank you to our guest, Michael Block, for joining us today. It was great to talk about Block Talk and also just to reconnect with you. We will have all of his links on our post tonight. And don't forget, you can get your discount for the Future Method today. Each time you clean out with water or enemas, delicate tissues are harmed and cells are damaged, increasing chances of injury and or STD. The first of its kind doctor-developed formula gently cleanses without hurting your bum before you play. And now you can use code Gaytalk20 for 20% off, valid for one purchase or one subscription per person.
Is it my turn?
No, it's mine.
Oh.
All right, Nick announces our show is available on our website, gaytalk20.com.
You forgot to put a rubber on it.
Oh, yeah. Chris isn't here. It's hard.
I know. It's
Yeah.
like, you know.
Should we put a rubber on it?
Yes, please.
All right, let's put a rubber on it. Our show is available on our website, gaytalk20.com, under audio podcasts. It's also available for a free download on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher Radio. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Gaytalk 2.0, Instagram, Gaytalk 2.0, Twitter at Gaytalk20. You can email us at gaytalk2.0 at gaytalk20.com.
Breathe, girl. Breathe. Breathe. All right. If you need to reach out to us, just head on over to our website. Click on the Contact Us tab located at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments. You can suggest topics, submit a question for the cast or an individual host. You can also call us and leave us a question via voice message. We can answer those for you live on air. That phone number is 334-GAY-TALK. And if you need all those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget that we do stream live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can access that live stream by visiting digitalstreamradio.com. With that, ladies and gents, that is our show. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Bye!
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gaytalk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.